This is Dave Ferris. We had a meeting on our brainwave entrainment team yesterday on how to create binaural beats using Audacity, and I wanted to make a video to show what we covered there. Hopefully you can see my presentation. So first, quickly, there's three types of brainwave entrainment beats that I know of. There's binaural beats, there's monaural beats, and there's isochronic beats or isochronic tones. Binaural beats are when you have put one frequency in your left ear and one frequency in the right ear, and your brain should hear the difference between the two. So, like if you put 400 hertz on your left ear and 440 hertz on your right ear, your brain should figure out there's a 40 hertz difference and hear a warbling sound. Um, it requires headphones. You can't listen to that on a speaker because you have to have the ears separated to make your brain do the work. Then there's monaural beats, and that's just you do the same way, really. You use a 400 hertz tone. Well, you can use different frequencies. That's just an example. But you use a 400 hertz tone, for example, and 440 hertz tone, and play them both at the same time, and you'll hear. But you don't put one on the left ear and one on the right. You just play them both stereo or mono. Both. You can put it on a speaker, and you'll hear it warbling right out of the speaker. So it doesn't require headphones. You can wear headphones, but you don't need headphones. It's kind of cool because then if you have more than one person, they can listen to it at the same time. And then the third one, which we're not going to show how to make because you can't create these with Audacity, but I just want to cover them because I want to make another video on how to create these, is isochronic beats, or they call them isochronic tones. And these are different. Instead of having two frequencies and the difference between the two frequencies being the beat, this you just take a frequency. Say you take a frequency like 600 hertz or 400 hertz, like on my slide here, and you pulse that 400 hertz at another frequency. So like if you had a tone, and you go, you're hearing 40 beats per second, but it's not but it's not at 40 hertz. You're not hearing a 40 hertz tone. I hope that made sense. Um, all right, I'm gonna just go to the next slide here. We're gonna get into this. So Audacity is a free tool. It's easy to use. It's a multi-track editor and recorder. It's really the standard for everybody uses it because it's free. It works great and it's free. And you can Google Audacity or you go to www.audacityteam.org. You can download it. It works on Linux, Windows, or Macintosh. So Mac OS. I don't know. I guess they still have Macintoshes. All right. So I'm going to get right into the program here. I have Audacity up here. So if we were to do binaural beats, I'm going to do both binaural and monaural because it's really going to be pretty much the same, uh, almost the same. Okay, so here we have Audacity. I'm not going to go over everything except just show you how I use it. Um, I'm going to create a binaural beat using 400 hertz on the left ear and 440 on the right ear. This is a combination I use. I'm still researching what the best frequencies to use are for brainwave entrainment, but I just want to show you how to make a 40 hertz binaural beat. So you need a difference of 40 hertz between the two frequencies. So the first one I'm going to do is um, the 400 hertz. So I just come up here to generate. I'm going to generate a tone. I use a sine wave. There's other waves, but for what we're doing, sine wave is what most common and it's what you need. Use the sine wave. I'm going to set this frequency here for 400 hertz. And down here is where you put the duration. I'm going to go ahead and do this like I normally do these. I make mine for 50 minutes. 50. Type in there the length, so it's 50 minutes, 0 seconds. I don't think it'll take too long to create it. And then I hit OK. And it's creating 50 minutes worth of. I use 50 minutes because a lot of the studies show they're using between 30 minutes and an hour. So I want to use the high end of that, but I just don't want to use an hour because that's a lot of dedicated time. I just don't want to use it. I want a little short of an hour. So here you see we got 50 minutes of tone here, and if I play it, hopefully you can hear it. That's 400 hertz. I'll stop that. I'll show you some things about this now. If I want to zoom in, see here, this is 0 here at the time marker, and then over here is 50. So it's 50 minutes. And this thing here, the zoom, I just discovered this. If I click on this, then I click on the wave file, it zooms in. And I just keep clicking on it. You can see it zooms all the way in to where you can see the actual wave. Um, and if I zoom even closer, you can see the actual samples. And you could edit these, but we're not doing that. I just wanted to show you that. Now if I click here, fit project to width, that should put it back to normal. Yeah, there it is. All right, so I have 400 hertz on this one. And I'm going to put this on the left ear. So here you see here you have the volume, less volume, more. Its gain is 0 dB. 0 dB, that means it's no gain. It's just what the level was. And then here's left and right. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to move it all the way to the left. So this is on the left ear, and if I play it, it's just on the left ear. All right, now that's 400 hertz. And now I'm going to add another track. So I have to add a track, mono track. And I'm going to click in here. This is the selection tool. If I want to move around, I can put it on this little eye here. So I'm going to click in here. So I'm on this second track, and I'm going to hit rewind or skip to start. Moves my cursor all the way to the beginning. And now I'm going to generate another tone. And I'm going to generate a tone and a sine wave. This one I'm going to make 440 hertz. And it's still 50 minutes. I say okay. And this one, I want to move it all the way to the right here. So now I have, and let's see if I'll mute this, well, solo this one here. Now I can hear this one. So that's on the right. I'll take the solo off and move it back to start. Now if I play it, I have 400 hertz on the left ear, 440 on the right ear. And if I play this, hear both at once. I'll tell you a little bit about Audacity here. Well, one thing, when you play it up here, you have a meter showing how loud it is. Yeah, that's kind of loud. See how it's red? Kind of red up there. So in the volume, this is audio stuff, but this is in dB decibels. Every 3 decibels either doubles or cuts the power in half as far as watts goes. I used to work in telecommunications. So anyway, so if you go 3 dB down, that's cut in half. But only reason it doesn't say that is 3 dB is a pretty good chunk to use. And if you hold this and move it, it's kind of hard to tell what. I did -4, so let's move it again there. I'm going to try moving each of them down to -3 dB. So 0, -3. No, we'll look at that meter again now and see what it looks like. Yeah, that's not bad. That's just getting into the yellow it was, and that's okay. Try to get a balance between, you don't want to overdrive things, but you don't want to have your output file being weak, so that if you don't have good, MP3 player or whatever, you don't want to play these loud to hurt your ears anyway. But anyway, you don't want to make them too weak, because you can always turn the volume down on your MP3 player, but or wherever you're playing them on. But if you don't make them loud enough, sometimes you can't get the volume loud enough. So We have this is binaural beats, 400 and 440 hertz. And I'll show you about Audacity. When you save files in Audacity, you might think, oh, I'm saving an MP3, and you don't really save an MP3, you export an MP3. So Audacity uses these AUP project files. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as a AUP. I will save project as, and I'm going to call it binaural beat BB 400 440, and I hit save. Now if I went to open it, you can see binaural beat BB 400 440 AUP is Audacity. I think that says AU is Audacity, P is project, so Audacity project, but we don't need to open it because we already have it open. Now I want to make an MP3 that I can put on my MP3 player. I want to make something I can take off of my computer, post on the web, give to people. So for that, you just go to, I'm going to go back to the start, make sure I'm at the start. You go to export, and you can export as a wave. Wave files are a lot bigger, so export as an MP3. This is my folder structure. See, brainwave. I have a binaural beats folder, and I've already done this once before, but this is what I called it before. BB sine, because this is a sine wave, because sometimes I do play with other types of waveforms. No, this is 100, 140. This is not the same one, so here. This will be a BB sine 400, 440. And MP3. I will save this. And you can put information in there if you want, but I don't care about it. So I'd say OK. Now it's exporting it. But that's 50 minutes. That's kind of long. All right. Now, if I bring up my computer, that should have put this in my brainwave entrainment binaural beats. And there it is. I just created it. And if I open this with celluloid, that's my player. I use Linux Mint, so that's why my programs look a little bit different. But that's the media player. Celluloid is the one I like. All right. So now I'm going to go back to the Audacity. Now this is how simple it is. That was binaural beats. One tone on the left ear, one other tone on the right ear. If I want to make it monaural beats, I just move them in the middle. And then you'll hear the warbling right away if I play this now. I'm going to hit play. I guess theoretically, when you listen to the binaural beats, you should hear that also. I don't hear that, so that might mean there's something wrong with my brain that I don't actually hear that warbling when I listen to them, one on the left ear and one on the right ear. But I don't know if the fact that I don't hear the warbling means it's not doing any good for me. Maybe it is. But I do know that when they're doing brainwave entrainment and research studies, a lot of times they just use monaural beats to just playing the beat, not making your brain do the work. So apparently there's probably just as much, or maybe even more. It's not really certainty which is better for brainwave entrainment, binaural beats or monaural beats or isochronic tones. Really, this is really a lot of new research. But I know the study that MIT just did, they were using monaural beats with mice, and it was very effective. So if I want to export this monaural beats I just made, it's the same thing. I can just do another export. Export as an MP3. This time I'll go to my monaural beats folder. Uh, do MB sine 440, 400 and 440. Save that, and I will say OK. This might go a little faster. I don't know, 35 seconds. After this is finished, I'll show you one more trick. Well, I probably should, but sometimes I add audiobooks to these. I don't know if it detracts from the effect, but I don't think it does. When you see the binaural beats on the internet, on the YouTube, they always have music over them. Apparently, you don't have to make the music so overt, but so I like getting free audiobooks at LibriVox. Let me go bring up my file manager again. Now if I go to the Monaural Beats folder, there's the Monaural MB sign, and if I right click, I open that with celluloid. Alright, for that. So the last thing I'll show you is if you wanted to, well here, I'm going to use my audio, brainwave entrainment. I have audiobooks. So I'm just going to take a chapter from the Imitation of Christ. There's a site called LibriVox.org. If you search on LibriVox, you'll find it. You can download just a ton of audiobooks that are public domain, and they say it right on there, they're public domain. So let me take a thick one. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go back to my track. I'm going to add a third track, a mono track. Then I'm going to click inside here, so I'm on this track, and I'm going to go back to the start, and then I'm going to paste that file I just copied into there, and it's going to think for a minute. That didn't work right. Hold on a second here. Let me get rid of that. Let me do it this way. I'm going to bring up this. I'm going to move this to another. Oh, look, I can do it this way. Here you go. I'll just take this and I'll drag it down here and drop it. That worked better. So now I have a book on this track, and I have the two tones up here. I know I like I'm going to put this back to binaural beats, so I'll put this top track 400 hertz to the left, and I'll put no, I turned the volume all the way down. Put that back to -3. I'll probably have to lower it even more once I get the book in there. Alright. Put this track to the left, this track to the right, and let's play it like this. How shalt thou overcome greater ones? Look up there to the upper right, you see the volume, you see it's too loud. How shalt thou overcome greater ones? I don't think the book is too loud because you can see the volume's pretty reasonable down here on the third track. I think it's the book plus these tones. So I'm going to turn these down another 3 dB. So that's -6 now. -6. Now let's try it now. How shalt thou overcome greater ones? Withstand thy will at the beginning. Still kind of loud. So I'll go down 9 dB. Oh, maybe 10. You want these to be the same for both tracks, I'm pretty sure. Alright, so now we're at -10 dB. How shalt thou overcome greater ones? There you go. Withstand thy will at the beginning, and unlearn an evil habit, lest it lead thee little by little in. I kind of like that. I'm going to try it as a monaural beat, so I just put the stereo in the middle this time. Let's see how the volume looks.
How shalt thou overcome greater ones? Withstand thy will at the beginning, and unlearn an evil habit.
When both of these are on stereo, they need to be down even further, so I'm going to take them down to -15. Oh, I did pretty good there. All right, let's try that.
How shalt thou overcome greater ones? Withstand thy will at the beginning, and unlearn an evil habit, lest.
All right, and if I wanted to save that, well, I would just export it again. I would export it as an MP3. I have it as a monaural beat now, and I think I like it. I think I like it better like that. So I'm going to export it as an MP3. I'm still on my monaural beats, and what was that book called? That's Imitation of Christ. That's the second file. You have to come up with your own system of naming these, but it'd just be for the Imitation of Christ. I'm probably spelling imitation wrong, but I'm spelling Christ correctly. I'll save that, say okay. Oh, I could have got the spelling right there. Now it's taking a little bit longer because I'm encoding that book into her also. And when I do an audiobook, really, I do the whole book at once. So I'm not doing that in this video. So when I do an audiobook, I add all the tracks to this, and it makes it quite long. It makes it maybe you get up to like 6 hours, and I just um, make the audio the two different tones. I make them go the same length, and then I cut it into 50-minute sections, and maybe I'll do a video on that someday if anybody's interested. But that's a little more in-depth, tedious. You got enough information here to play with it. All right, now if I go back to my um, file manager and I go back to the brainwave entrainment files, monaural beats, I'm pretty sure I spelled that wrong. Open this as celluloid.
This is a LibriVox recording.
Oh, that's very cool.
All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain.
See how it says it's in the
For
public
more
domain?
information and to find out how you can volunteer.
All right. Well, that concludes how to create binaural beats and monaural beats using Audacity. I hope you find it useful, and I'm going to hit stop.